Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz. Guys, welcome to Season 3, Episode number 9.
Yes, let's get right to it,
sir,
dude.
Yes. So, guys, if this is your first time listening to the Untapped Podcast, first of all, thank you for choosing us and welcome. We are so happy to have you here. We actually have 5 main formats of our show. So first, and this is what we have today, we have Forging Fortitude episodes. Now, in these, we cover the mental side of things, okay? We go over a lot of our anecdotal experiences with mentality and mindset. Those are really the 2 main ones that we like to cover.
Definitely.
And we try to pass on advice to you guys that you can apply to your life. Next, we have physical vitality episodes, okay? So in these ones, we cover the other half of the idea of our brand, which is combining mental and physical health into one business and one brand. So in physical vitality episodes, we cover the physical side of things, okay? You have 2 certified personal trainers here. So in these ones, we cover the gym, diet, workouts, nutrition, outdoor workouts, things of that nature, a lot of fitness motivation.
Yeah.
That'll actually more be in the Forging Fortitude episodes, but sometimes it just naturally comes out in the physical vitality episodes.
Love when you talk about combining the 2, dude.
Love it.
I love it.
Love it.
That's good stuff. So our third format, guys, is our breaking news format. That's a current event-based type of format. It is where we talk about how history connects to current events. It might be what is going on in the world, current event type of stuff. Might be literally breaking news for that day or that week or whatever it is or what's going on. And a lot of times it will be our opinions as well on these subjects and us calling out the BS going on in the world, so to speak. Our fourth format, guys, is our Knights Table episodes. Those are masculinity-based episodes. We talk about our journey and bring you along with the journey of becoming a strong male. That includes being a strong father, strong husband, good friend, protector of society, provider for those around you, that type of stuff. All kinds of good things that come along with masculinity. It is not toxic. Our fifth format, ladies and gentlemen, is our guest format. That's what you can probably guess what that one is, but is where we sit down with somebody who is a fitness professional, entrepreneur, somebody that brings you value, however it goes, and we sit down and have a conversation with them, and it flows really well.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It
We
does.
love doing those guest episodes. And then our final thing to introduce is our producer and my brother, Mitchell Gabel.
Gentlemen, what's going on?
What's going on, Money Mitch?
That's me.
It's good to see your beautiful face, man.
You gotta love that
Right,
nickname,
thanks.
dude.
So
Yeah,
I
love
wanted to
that
start
nickname.
this episode off actually with a really cool story. I
Nice.
purposely didn't tell you guys this yet. So I was at Deerberg's with my family, my grandma. I guess it was last weekend. And I go to the deli counter. We all kind of split because we had several things to get. Okay, and I go to the deli counter to get lunch meat. And there's this older woman behind the counter who I've seen a gazillion times. We've talked a few times. Maybe she remembers me, maybe she doesn't. You know, they see a ton of people every day, right? And this was the Sunday before Memorial Day. And, I'm just making conversation. I was the only one up there and said, oh, so I guess, I assume you guys have tomorrow off. And she kind of gives me a look and a smile that indicated no, they don't. I was like, hey, I really don't either. And she's like, well, what do you do? And I said, well, half of my job is coaching baseball, and so that's what I'm doing tomorrow. And the other half, I'm a strength coach at a baseball facility. And she goes, oh, that's so great. And, was asking about how old the boys were that I coached and whatnot. She then proceeds to tell me that she just got back into the gym and got a Planet Fitness membership. And I was like, hey, that's great. Like, I'm proud of you. This is an older woman again. I was like, that's great. And she goes, yeah, I've actually lost 123 pounds in the past year and a half at 68 years old. And I stopped and I go, did you say 123?
Yeah, she just got back into the gym.
And she goes, yeah, 123 in the last year and a half at 68 years old. And I'm getting goosebumps right now because I literally told her, I was like, that is amazing. I was like, that is amazing. Like, congratulations. Like, I am so proud of you. I literally said this to her. I was like, I am so proud of you. Like, that is unbelievable. For someone your age to be able to do something like that is awesome. And I was like, I've actually had a big weight loss myself, but it's been a little bit longer and it hasn't been that much. But it was just like the coolest freaking story. Like, it was awesome. I got goosebumps in the store. I'm getting goosebumps right now just telling it again. And 123 pounds at 68 years old.
That is incredible.
So I don't want to hear your excuses as to why you can't get into the gym.
If you're a 30-year-old and you're talking to us about
That's
it
what I'm
and
saying.
why you can't,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if it can be done by anybody.
Exactly. If that doesn't inspire the hell out of you, I don't know what it takes. But I don't know. I had to share that story. Like,
Well,
that was pretty special.
According to TikTok, she'd be considered fat phobic these days. So, yeah.
I guess I am too then.
Yeah.
Scared of fat people? I don't know if I'm scared of them. Just want to help them. I don't know, but isn't that pretty badass?
I like that. No,
Isn't
it's
that
so
pretty cool?
badass, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The fact that she's 68 like absolutely adds on top of it. But again, it just shows. I'm sure she just has 3 to 5 solid habits she follows and goes from there.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a complicated process,
No.
as we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And she's followed the plan and followed the way it goes. It sounds like, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
It was funny as I was leaving the counter. I was like, "I'll see you guys soon." She goes, "You'll be seeing less of me next time." And I said, "That's exactly right."
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. So that was really
That's
cool.
so
that was
good.
that was a cool way to end off Sunday or this past Sunday.
Dude, great little way to start the episode here.
Yeah.
That's
it was
phenomenal.
awesome. Yeah, I purposely waited to tell you guys that so I could tell you here, but
Very nice.
really
dude.
cool story.
Yeah.
Really cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's hop
dude.
into the episode, man.
Yeah, let's do this thing. So, guys, what we're bringing you today, as we mentioned, is a Forging Fortitude episode. The main things we want to touch on are the idea of the importance of real conversations with those around you, and also the loneliness epidemic that is actually going on in the United States, especially right now.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of want to touch and dive into those two things. When it comes to real conversations, what first comes to my mind is the type of conversations our guys' nights have been, our men's nights have been.
Definitely.
That's what comes to mind, and a big thing for us recently is we're actually diving into topics that have substance to them.
Yeah.
It's not something that is, kind of like, oh, weather good today?
Right.
It's not that.
No.
It is not that. It is not. Now, do we talk sports? Yes, we do, but it is not 70% plus of our conversation.
No.
Like a lot of conversations
Right.
tend to be these days.
Right.
It's the same. You and I, we'll talk about the Cardinals, but that'll be 10% or less of the time.
Oh yeah,
lot of times.
and it doesn't even have to be sports necessarily, but
Exactly.
just things that aren't necessarily bringing you immediate value.
Yes, and
you
million
know?
value and bringing you to a better place in
Exactly.
life as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because sports are there for entertainment and competition, and there's
Yes.
absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I don't want that to get translated that way to our listeners here. But what you're saying here is we have an intent behind the majority of
Yes.
the conversations that
Yeah.
you and I have, or the three of us here in this room, or what we're doing with our guys' nights. There's intent behind what we want to cover with our topics for the podcast, for those guys' nights. When you and I are talking, whether that's business, content related, podcast related,
Yep.
Merch or apparel related, there's intent behind it. And even when we go to places, we finally got out to Omen Coffee Co. downtown in St.
Yep.
Louis. And if you guys haven't been yet to go see Mark, guys, get down there to Omen. Really, really cool vibe in there.
100%.
The coffee was fantastic, and I'm not even really a coffee drinker.
That's why that
really-
was cool, is that you enjoyed it too.
Yeah, right. Really good vibe down there, and Mark is just an amazing human being. But we were able to stand there with him for probably 20, maybe even pushing 30 minutes.
Yep.
And we had a very, very intentful conversation with him on what we're trying to do in the future here, and just different connections that we continue to make. When we go to a big event that S2 or First Form hosts, we have an intent. We sought out Ian Smith at the S2 barbecue, and we had a
Right.
conversation. We told him about our business, and he was hyped up about it. We talked about what was going on in the world with him, and he obviously was hyped up about it. That's how he's made a name for himself.
Yeah.
So we have intent behind what we do when it comes to having conversations and meeting people, making connections, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
And guys, this isn't to say that Wurtz and I are just 100%
Oh,
business.
definitely not.
24/7. Yeah. If you saw us before the podcast,
Oh,
you'd
man.
understand that it does take us kind of messing around a little bit to get that out of our system.
Absolutely.
So we're not saying that you can't have fun, that it needs to be some kind of like weird stoic conversation 24/7.
just sitting here.
Yeah, just like Andrew
Very
Tate
calm.
style with the
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah,
hands there,
right,
like the mudra or whatever it's called. Yeah, that's not what we're saying, guys. And it's the same thing with the men's night. The men's night is for us to also connect casually with the guys too.
Definitely.
Because if we were just like all emotional, deep stuff the whole time, it would get really exhausting really quickly.
Yeah.
Like that, especially as guys, I think we can relate to like breaking the ice with like humor and whatnot a lot
For
of the
sure.
times. That's a
For
good
sure.
way to go
or
about
something
it.
physical
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And and I'm glad you caveated that about sports, because we can enjoy talking about our local teams here, about sports and
Absolutely.
whatnot. But I know plenty of people who are consumed totally by it.
Yes.
So that's the difference. There is a separation of it there. Yeah, like I love keeping up with the Blues, the Cardinals, even the soccer team now, as you guys saw. I went to that game, but I love keeping up with the scores that happen, but it doesn't consume my entire life.
Yeah, right.
And that is where you have to be careful when it comes to like any type of sports, anytime you talk about like video games, anytime you talk about like, let's say you're a comic book fan or something like that and you're consumed by that. That's a weird specific example, but it's true. Even little stuff like that. Maybe you read, like fictional type books, and you're consumed by that. You know, we talk about reading a lot. It's more about just not getting consumed by the quick pleasures and the quick dopamines in life, and focusing on the intentful and the substantive type conversations.
Absolutely, because that's what will lead to more fulfillment in your life too.
Yeah.
You know, we have found that because, you know, some of this plays into, and we've talked about this a bit too, but sometimes you have to wean people out of your life or cut people out of your life, things like that maybe don't, you know, if you're trying to go down a new path, like there's going to be certain people that are in your life right now that are not going to want to go down that same path. So you're going to have to wean them out, or you're going to have to cut them out completely if you truly want to go down that new path or go down the road of personal excellence or, you know, self-improvement. That was the other way to say that, basically. But there's going to be some people in your life that don't want to go down that, or they might make fun of you for that, or they might, you know, make little jabs at you for that. And if you truly want to, quote unquote, level up or go down that path and really better yourself, like, you might have to cut those people out, you know, and that's a very hard thing to do. We've had to do it with just a few people, because really, for the most part, like, we have a very supportive crew around us. And like, honestly, the three of us in the room, we don't, like, us three are chilling, you know, like, we're good. You know, as far as that goes, because we have there's a strong drive in this room here, strong relationships here in this room, and there's a willingness to do something different.
100%. And
you know,
the thing is too, we gravitate toward people who think like that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point in time, it's the point where I just don't conversate with people who don't speak like that.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
Don't have a, like, what does everybody call it? A higher frequency. A lot of the times is a common
or the
thing.
same frequency.
Or you're on the same frequency, or that's a lot of the times a phrase they use. Like, I feel like we gravitate towards the type of people that are on the same wavelength as we are.
Definitely.
And just because our brains naturally connect with that, and like we start having a conversation with somebody who isn't, it's like,
it's very surface level, if at all.
We keep it surface level, and we don't necessarily mean to, like, maybe kind of like, you know, throw away the conversation, but it might naturally just happen.
Right.
Because we want to go the direction of growing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that'd be the same thing if we were like ask Mark, like, dude, remember that one time you did this at First Form or something like that, or whatever?
Right.
Like, that'd be weird.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to worry about the past and that type of stuff.
Right.
But a conversation, that's actually a good conversation. But not focusing on the past is actually key too. Dude, remember this one time we were hammered at the bar next to us, the nearest bar next to us?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, right. It's fine to think about the past, but you don't need to live in it.
Yeah, it's like don't get
That's
me
the
wrong.
key.
Like, some of those stories can be funny,
Sure.
but
He's not, and guys, I don't want this to get confused. He's not saying to throw away memories or anything like that, because like that would be ridiculous.
right,
But
right.
if you are just doing the same thing over and over and over every single week or weekend, and or are living in the past, that's all you're going to do until the day you die.
Yeah.
That's all you're going to do. And we all know the type. We all know the type. You know, we used to be around a lot of those types of people.
Yeah.
You know, and then we kind of woke up and we're like, hey, we're around these people a lot. We see them at the same places. Like, we need to stop going to these places. We need to stop seeing these people if we really want to go down the path that we want to go.
Right.
You know, and sometimes it's very easy to do that because it's like, oh yeah, like that's just a sloppy group of people, you know, or like they don't align with my values or my morals, or their actions are just not what I want to be doing on a daily basis or a weekly basis, you know? So sometimes you have to have those either tough conversations with people and be like, hey, listen, man, like, I love you. You've been in my life for a long, long time, but I'm trying to do something a little bit differently. I would love for you to join me. If you don't want to, like, I'm not going to have the time for you.
Yeah.
You know? And you just have to say what you got to say. Or if you want to try and avoid that conversation, you just stop going to stuff. You don't answer. You just don't go. You tell them no. You make up something, say you're busy. You know, like, just stop going.
That's usually the classic. It's just tell them you got something going on.
Yeah. And then eventually they're going to get the message.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like there's a progression with it too, because when I first started with fitness, I noticed the little backhanded not backhanded compliments, the backhanded comments. I was going to say with that. But fitness, it kind of started, you know, and I was definitely, I guess I saw like a longer progression because of the fact that it was just fitness for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, it was the fitness and business
progression.
And I'm sure as we continue to grow, there's a continual progression as we continue to level up with Untapped and whatnot and separate fully with Untapped and all that stuff. That, of course, will be a different progression. But the two progressions I've seen so far are fitness by itself. And there was back-end, like I said, little jabs here and there, like you mentioned.
Oh, you got to go work out, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and,
I do.
You know, and that doesn't necessarily, a lot of times, just the fitness aspect, in my experience, didn't exactly like lose me the friends around me, or it didn't like ruin the friendships around me. It just like activated these comments and whatnot.
Yeah, right.
And then it got to the point where Wurtz and I started doing Untapped and whatnot. At the time, it was Extrication, of course, and we started working on that. That changed everything. That's like you put yourself, when you start working on growing a business or doing something way out of the norm of you know, maybe a regular job and whatnot. And again, we've said there's nothing wrong with that, but when you do something different, like attempt to literally from scratch build your own business, it does separate even more than fitness already does. Because fitness already is a little bit of a separating factor, but then you add the business on top of it, and that separates you up to here.
Right.
And it's very hard to have conversations that are, you know, anywhere near important with people who don't understand what you're doing or don't even like attempt to understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because there can be people that have a normal job again who support the personal growth.
Absolutely.
Path.
Oh yeah.
That can be a thing.
Being an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, a lot of entrepreneurs tend to not be entrepreneurs. They tend to just be kind of, you know,
there every day.
Just there.
A robot almost.
Like,
yeah.
Basically. Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
Like a cubicle robot or whatever. Yeah.
Well, and another one too that at least I've gotten, I'm sure you have too, is when I first started really diving into fitness content and posting that and really like starting to do that consistently. Even Merry Mondays would be a good example. Like you get those comments at the beginning, like, oh, you're trying to be a fitness influencer. Well, dude, like I'm trying to inspire people. I'm trying to help people change their lives because I've changed my life and I continue to change my life. And I want to help inspire other people to do that. And if you knew the connections I've made through doing content and through Instagram and just social media in general, like it would blow your mind.
Yep.
It would blow your mind.
And if you started doing it, guess what? You would
It would
also
happen for you
level up
too.
because of it too.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you'd be able to help others level up because of that.
Exactly. And so, guys, you might be thinking to yourselves right now, like, well, here, I thought they said at the beginning there's a loneliness epidemic going on right now, but now they're saying to cut people out of your life. So won't that make you lonely? Well,
Great
guys,
caveat there.
here's the point. If you cut those people out of your life or you wean those people out of your life, you might spend a time, period, alone or what feels alone. Okay. Now, obviously, like we reconnected, so we immediately had each other.
Yep.
Okay. That's not always going to be the case.
Right.
Okay. So you might feel like you're alone at first, but if you continue to put your head down and work and really work to change your life and change who you are, new people will be brought into your life. And guess what? You're not going to feel lonely anymore. You're not going to feel scared, anxious, depressed, whatever anymore. Like I can guarantee it. 100% can guarantee it. So you're going to have to go through a period of time where it does feel like you're alone. And you might feel a little lonely.
Yep.
But you have to understand the path that you're choosing to go on now and that it is so freaking worth it. It will be. It takes time. You have to be patient. You have to be consistent. You have to be disciplined. All these things. And if you continue to do those things each and every day, you will bring new people into your life that will help you level up. Then there's your new group. That new group introduces you to more people. So then you level up even more. And it's just a cyclical cycle. I don't know if those two words work together. Not at all. It's cyclical. And then you just continue going up to new levels.
Yep.
So that's what we mean by this. Yes, we are saying to cut people out of your life if they're not going to help progress you.
While we're also talking about the loneliness epidemic. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
They are not mutually exclusive things that we're talking about
No,
here. Yeah.
no,
100%.
not at all. But you have to have an understanding when you first go onto this new path that you're wanting to go down. Like, there's going to be some times where you feel alone.
Yep.
But
And as you'll
it's
see,
not going to last that long.
well, 100%. And as you'll see, it's not gonna. You're gonna bring the right people into your life. We're
Exactly.
gonna advocate for bringing those really close and correct people into your life.
Absolutely.
So we will advocate against the loneliness epidemic, of course, because
Right.
of the fact that it will bring that.
This is almost, sorry to cut you off
No, you're
here,
good.
but this is almost like my Merry Monday here. I think this was number 99 was inputs equal outputs.
Yeah.
You know, what you are putting in to yourself is what you're going to get out of it. Or what you put in is what you get out, meaning the more you put into yourself, the better people you're going to attract to your life. Exactly what you just said.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. And I that's actually what I'm about to say builds on top of that perfectly. So you've been sold a bill of goods that says that life is just supposed to be free of tribulation and trial. And you've been lied to because And a lot of that, this is where I think a lot of the loneliness epidemic probably leads from, or stems from, I should say. But especially in the U.S., we're told life is supposed to be kind of a cakewalk, and then we see again on social media, we see the other people's lives and how awesome they are and whatnot, and we assume that it took zero trials for that person to get to that point. And that's false on so many levels. Newsflash, even if it takes 3 to 5 or plus years or 10 plus years or whatever, you're going to have to go through shit to get out of that loneliness epidemic. Yeah. Again, what does Mark always say? He says happiness is not the default.
Yeah.
It isn't.
Right.
Because you're not just going to wake up magically every day and just be like, oh yeah, I'm good.
Right.
It's not a thing.
You got to go out and earn that every single day.
100%. And once you understand that concept, that's when you really start to understand that it is possible to find those close friends. It is possible to get out of that depression and anxiety loop. It is possible to better your life. But you have to start with it, understanding that you will have to go through tough times and trials along the way.
And you have to be willing to do it alone.
And you have to be willing to do it alone a lot for most people.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, it might take a while. It might be harder for some people as well than other people. Again, we don't want to compare struggles and whatnot.
Sure.
But, this person might deal with that. This person might deal with that. One way or another, it's going to be a struggle.
Hard is hard.
Hard is
it
hard.
really is.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like hot is hot or cold is cold.
Yeah.
Same concept.
Exactly.
Same exact concept.
100%.
Like if something feels cold to somebody, like if 30 degrees feels cold to somebody in Florida, but 0 degrees feels cold to us here.
Right.
Same thing.
Right.
If your situation feels hard to you and my situation feels hard to me, it's hard.
Exactly.
One way or another.
Now, depending on who you have around you and if you're close enough with these people or this group, they should be able to tell you or call you out on your bullshit if it's not actually that hard. Be like, hey, dude, kind of being a bitch. Like, wake up.
Yeah.
Get back in the gym or get back on your diet or stop making excuses for this or, whatever.
And eventually you'll get to our point where we're like, yeah, I mean, I was just being soft.
Oh yeah,
I was just making up excuses or whatnot.
Oh,
if we have 2 hours where we missed a window where we should have done something, like that. Like
we're at the point where we know
Yeah.
each other. We're gonna call each other out. So it's just like, well, I gotta call myself out here. Like, I'm gonna save Gable the text and be like, yeah, dude, like I messed up.
Yeah, I screwed up.
Right.
And both of us have done that multiple times in the past 3 years.
And that's a good freaking relationship right there.
Yeah.
That's what that looks like.
Yep. 100%.
But I think the reason we're kind of dealing with a loneliness epidemic, and guys, we're actually gonna get into some numbers for you from an article that you came across in a different podcast that you heard. But without reading the full article so far, I read through these numbers because that was really what we wanted to use. But I think the biggest reason there is a loneliness epidemic is one, like you were saying earlier, how we see all these people on social media or just on the news or in movies that we just assume that they just got to the top without any work.
Sunshine and rainbows.
And we're like, well, there's no way I could do that. So, like, why would there be any hope for me to make more money or have a cool house, have a great family,
be jacked,
drive cool cars, be jacked? You just assume that people have great genetics when it comes to being jacked. Like, dude, that's just so far from the truth. So far from the truth.
I don't think that's either of us.
Even dudes or girls that are on juice, like, you still got to put the work in. You still have to diet hard, so all that kind of stuff. Like, it's not just handed to you.
Yep.
Do some people have some better genetic things than other people? Sure.
Yes.
Of course. There's definitely fact to that. But someone that's jacked with 6-pack abs or whatever doesn't mean that they were just born that way. So I think that's one, seeing all these people. I think two is because people give up on their self-improvement journeys or paths or whatever. I think they give up too early.
Yep.
They might be literally the next day they might meet someone that helps them level up or helps wants to join them on a journey or something like that. Or it could be the next week or the next month. You never know. That's why you just have to go one more day. On those days, I got about 2 hours of sleep the night before we're recording this. I still woke up, still got to the gym, still made all my food for today and tomorrow because I already have my whole day planned out for tomorrow. So like, yeah, I'm tired as hell right now, but I still got things I got to do.
Yep.
I still have a workout I have to do. I still have a diet I have to stick to. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. So I think people give up too early on those paths. And that's why we see these numbers that we're about to talk about here. They are so high that I don't think most people are going to be able to understand how high these numbers are, how surprising it is. But I think those are the two main factors there. Seeing all these people that we perceive to be above us and giving up too early.
Love it. That's perfect. You know what's weird about, I want to comment on the giving up too early thing. Recently, I've seen a lot of, and even heard a couple personal things where some people came up to me and it's like, man, I'm a year in. I kind of lost it for the last few weeks. Just not about it right now. That's another thing too. There is a little bit of a layover at some point in time when you get into a certain self-improvement journey too. So there is a part there. Now, again, like you just mentioned, not everybody will get there because they'll quit 3 months in.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even 2 months in or 1 month in or whatever.
Right.
But that's a big thing too. There will be, it's not just you're going to ride a high when you start the self-improvement journey.
You might at first though.
You might.
You could at first.
Right. And you might even for 6 months.
Sure.
Some people might, again, that's like the newbie gains with fitness.
Yeah,
those happen within the first 6 months or so.
That's the
right
motivated period.
Exactly. And that's what we've talked about with discipline is when you have to understand that there will be, even if you ride a high for 6 months, let's hope it lasts for 6 months, right? To start off, you're going to have to understand there is a layover.
Yeah.
One way or another. There's going to be layover days and busier days where you're not going to have as much time to do stuff, but you're still going to have to set that habit to have it in there.
And you got to prioritize
well.
it, you know?
100%.
If you're finding yourself anxious throughout the day because you feel like you're not going to have enough time, you need to prioritize it a little bit better. Just because maybe there's a day where you really can't get to the gym, that doesn't mean you can't go for a 20-minute walk, 30-minute walk, quick run. It doesn't mean you can't do that. Doesn't mean you couldn't
100%.
at least eat your lunch outside and get some sunlight at a minimum.
Doesn't mean you can't edit half of a video.
Yeah, right.
Instead of a full video, you only have time to edit half of it, edit half of it.
Dude, that's actually, I'm really glad you just brought that up. There have definitely been times where I'm like, man, like I've only got 30 minutes right now. And then it's midnight, or I've only got 30 minutes, and then I've got clients coming in. Like, I can't make a whole video right now. Like, I won't get it done. Well, why don't I just start on it now? And then when I get home tonight, I'm already halfway done with this video.
Yep.
So then I'm not up as late, and it's like, okay, yeah, let me knock this out real quick. So that's actually a really good point because that's literally something I run into weekly, actually, weekly.
Yeah, you got a project that's due in the next week or so. I don't have time to start right now. I only have 30 minutes, like you said. Start on that first slide of the project. Yeah. Start on the first, Excel part of the sheet or whatever.
Yeah, you could gather your articles or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When I'm prepping for those videos I'm talking about, like I'll make my files on my drive. I'll download the clips and I'll put them in the files and then I'll be done.
Those are organized. After you show me those, like that's what it's all about right
there. That's a perfect
what
example.
It's all about.
Yeah, right. People ask like, dude, how do you stay so consistent 3 times a week, 4 times a week for so long? It's like, you gotta stay organized.
Got the folder.
You know what I mean? You got the folders, but you have to have a plan. You got to be organized. And these are things I talk to you about. But staying on topic here, getting into these numbers a bit here. Mitch, where is this article from again?
Socialself.com.
Okay, socialself.com. And I believe this
But the statistics are from other companies.
Yes.
Other sources.
Yeah, and we'll link the article, guys, so you can
Definitely
go and actually check where the statistics come from.
For sure.
Because they do come from actual sources and actual research studies.
Right.
Yeah. So, guys, we also will reference, by the way, a Psychology Today article. At least I definitely will say something about that, and I'll probably have that linked as well in the article if you want to check on that. But this social self one is the main chunk of what we want to talk about today. So let's go over 3 quick numbers, guys. 1 says in 2021, 58% of Americans feel lonely or say they were lonely during that time.
58%.
That's from Cigna, the medical company.
Yeah.
That's where those numbers come from.
Yeah.
So that's extremely high.
That's
off the bat, we get smacked in the face with a very high number.
It's like what, probably 160 million,
right about
170 million,
maybe even more than that. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah.
Then we go 21% say they have no close friends. 0 close friends.
Yeah.
At all. Nobody they can go to. Nobody they can talk to.
Right. Which obviously that one, so when I did read that one, that's a little bit subjective. Or is it objective? I always confuse the two. Well, opinion.
Yeah, so it's subjective.
Yeah. That's a little bit subjective because what is considered a close friend? You know? Like what's the criteria for a close friend? Like I know what close friend means, but for the study, that was the one I was just like, okay, like that's not good. First of all, it's not good.
The way I think about it though is that if they're answering that they have no close friends,
Right.
they're so far from having a real friend at all that
Yeah.
like if they're saying that,
Mhm.
they're in a bad spot.
Definitely.
And that's
Definitely.
21% of the population.
Yeah.
So how many have one or two and that's it? And they might see them. They might be in another state,
Sure.
or they might never see them.
Yeah.
They only see them every month or every 2 months or something like that because
Mhm.
they're married. They have stuff going on. Whatever.
There are two other pieces I think in this article that are notable to your guys' conversation.
Go ahead and toss those in.
It's another Cigna statistic. 77% of adults with poor or fair physical health are lonely, compared to 50% of adults with excellent or good physical health, or very good physical health. So those who are
So 27% decrease. Yeah.
yes, which is significant.
Yeah.
And
Still
then-
50% though.
I'm a little surprised by that.
Which is
still, too,
crazy.
but
Yes.
yeah.
And then this applies directly to us and most of our listener base. Loneliness in Gen Z, so that's 1997 to 2012, I believe.
Mhm.
Gen Z is another Cigna statistic. It is a little bit stale. It's from 2018, but Gen Z is the loneliest generation. So more than millennials, more than boomers, more than et cetera, et cetera. I think it was from YouGov from 2019. So again, a little stale, but 65% of Gen Z said they were lonely.
I think we probably know why that's happening. Probably social media.
100%.
Because these kids, and obviously we're, especially you and I, Gable, but really we're on the front end of that Gen Z and we've talked about this, where we had a really good mix of like a lot of sports, a lot of outside time, a lot of playing with friends, playing outside, growing up.
We're also in Missouri.
A little bit of technology mixed in, a little bit of iPads and TVs, stuff like that, video games. But we weren't full blown like these kids right now that are baby's crying, here's an iPad.
Yep. Completely overwhelmed by the technology around us.
Baby's crying, here's Netflix. So I think that's a big part of the reason why they feel lonely is because their whole life they're just sitting there on their phones. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned this on the podcast or not before, but a lot of the clients that I have are like young high school and middle school ages, and some of them physically have issues with rounded shoulders because they are literally sitting on controllers and phones all day long, even in school. Yeah, exactly. Upper cross syndrome. And so it's literally having a physical effect on these kids too. It's not even just a mental effect to where they feel like they can't make friends or, and the reason they feel like they can't make friends is because they don't know how to hold conversations. I've talked about this as well, that these kids don't know how to hold conversations. They don't know how to look you in the eye. They don't know how to shake your hand. They don't know how to be engaged in a conversation that you're trying to have with them.
Yep.
And that's exactly why they don't know how to do that with each other. So they don't know how to make friends. It's crazy. I was talking to a grandpa of one of our kids that is at the facility, and I've met him twice now, and he's an awesome guy. The first time we met, he showed just the craziest genuine interest in what we're doing here and just about me personally, but then I told him about us, and he was just super, super interested in it, which was so awesome. But I saw him again a couple days later, and he's actually a worldwide speaker too, mostly in the financial side of things.
Very nice.
Because when he said that, I'm like, who have you talked with?
No, still though, even in the financial space, very intelligent person.
Yeah. And we were talking about this exact thing, how these younger kids don't know how to hold conversations, and they are so like they're living through their phones. And so that's why depression rates are so high. And then you add things like COVID, where everyone is isolated. So that just increased it all, So that's obviously why some of these numbers, in 2021, obviously, like that was COVID. 58% of people felt lonely. Well, yeah, we were all trapped inside.
Well, not to mention depression, anxiety, domestic abuse, drug abuse,
suicide.
Suicide.
All increases.
All skyrocketed during COVID.
Exactly. Now, that can go into more of a breaking news topic on how that was all intentional.
It can.
Was a pandemic, not a pandemic.
That's a good point. The cost of loneliness is very high. Drug abuse shoots up, and everything else you said. I mean, you have heart disease, anxiety, a whole bunch of other physical issues stem from loneliness as well.
They actually say, if I'm correct on this, they do say that loneliness is very similar damage-wise to what cigarettes do to your body, because it's that harmful to your body when it comes to heart disease and all that other stuff that comes along with it.
You're not stimulating anything.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know?
well, I mean, and think about how much cortisol release you have going on
Exactly.
when it comes to loneliness, and you're stressed about things 24/7.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
that is terrifying. And the thing is, though, I hear us talking about this, and a good portion. I mean, a good portion of this is those that are listening that aren't parents yet or are our parents now. This does fall on us that are listening to this to change that narrative.
Absolutely.
To switch that narrative around. Those of you that are coming up, even those of you that have kids in high school that might be listening to this and whatnot, if you see that and that's going on, you do have a part to play on that.
You have a massive
You
part
have
to
a
play.
huge part to play in that as a parent.
Right.
Because, I mean, honestly, these kids' development comes like 80 to 85+% is the parents.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
if we're seeing them all on their phones, it means we're enabling that. It means we're showing that same example.
Yes.
So if you're on your phone the entire time that you're around your kid, what are they going to do?
Right.
If you're not physically active, what are they going to do?
Right.
They're going to do the exact same thing.
Exactly.
And that's what we can't do.
Monkey see, monkey do.
But it's true. Yeah.
No, I mean, literally.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our last statistic, guys, I wanted to say too, and this is kind of an interesting one to me, is 53% say it's difficult to make friends because they're shy. And Mitch, can you let us know where that is from as well?
Well, and I think like that specific one goes into exactly what I was just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They think they're shy when in reality they just don't know how to interact with people.
There you go.
So they're scared to, which leads them to think they're shy when they just haven't even tried.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, dude, a great example, actually, personally with us two, is you're the exact example of just go up to somebody and talk to them. That's the exact example of why I love working with you and all that stuff, because I learn a lot from you when it comes to the social game of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've learned to just kind of go up and say hi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you kind of have to. And I won't go into the whole story, but like that all comes from that big baseball trip.
It does.
It really does.
And I mean, I probably would not. Probably 3 years ago, before we reconnected, I probably would not have stayed in line to meet Andy that day at the S2 barbecue.
Yeah.
But instead, I just
especially because I had to leave the line.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just me, and I ended up just joking with them, and then eventually shaking their hands, and then getting a picture and whatnot, and everything was good.
Absolutely.
And probably three years ago plus, past that, I don't think I would have done that.
Yeah.
And so you're right. It honestly, when it comes to being shy, like you said, it's almost like a skill from what I've seen from you, because like it seems like that whole baseball actually like scout camp honed the skill of just going up to people.
Absolutely.
You have to do it. It's like anything else. You have to do it, because if you don't practice talking to people and going up to people that you might be nervous to meet, you're not going to get better at it.
Exactly. I mean,
you're going to be shaking in your boots,
right?
Like this if you do it.
And of course I was nervous to do that. I mean, here I am at the freaking MLB winter meetings, you know, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I really want to get into scouting, like I have to meet these people.
Yep.
I have to connect with them. I have to get information. I have to get advice, blah, blah, blah. If I really want to be a content creator, I got to make content. I got to learn how to make better content now. I have to step up my content each and every week. I have to find new ways to be better, you know? So, and if we really want to grow a podcast, if we really want to grow a business, we got to be better each and every week. We got to find new ways to do all these things. So you just have to do it.
Yeah.
As crazy as it is, like you got to go up and talk to people. You have to go meet people. You have to figure out your way of interacting with people too.
You're going to have to forge yourself through the fire. You're going to have to forge yourself through the fire. Like it is what it is, because I mean, to this day, I was still nervous as shit to meet Ian too, whenever we went up to talk to him at the S2 barbecue. But again, I mean, how much of an impact has he made on us too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just off of social media.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is, like, if you want to make good friends, you have to talk to people.
Right.
You have to. There's nothing else to it. There's no pill the pharmaceutical industry is going to sell you that'll make you all of a sudden a social person.
Right. Plus, like, why would you want that anyway? Let's just say that was a real thing. Why would you want that anyway?
It's going to have 80 side effects, like every other commercial does too.
Not only that, but like you're not actually learning any skills.
It's like it's like Neuralink.
Well, it's
Same
like
concept,
it's like if you take a fat person and you just suck all the fat out of them,
or you hand them
you
Ozempic.
still have the fat person mentally. They still have those bad habits. They still will be fat in their mind. They still will go for the chips or the bad food, or they won't work out. That's why it takes the process of going through self-improvement or If you need better habits, something like 75 Hard. If you need more discipline in your life, again, something like 75 Hard will do that. If there was just a surgery or a pill, it's not teaching you anything. It's not teaching you anything. So, and what I've told you and what I continue to tell myself, when I'm going to meet someone like an Ian Smith or Andy Frisella, or any of those baseball people, or even Jeff LeVecchio, he's one. The first time I met him, find something that makes it known immediately that you're not just a fan, or that you're not just trying to get an autograph or get a picture or something like that. You can get that stuff at any time. Okay, you can get that eventually if it's really needed. What really matters is the connection with that person. Are we best friends with Ian Smith now because we've shook his hand? No.
Yeah.
But we planted the seeds because, and we joke about this, but it actually is an advantage for us because we have the same name. So what does everyone say? Oh, the Jacobs, or Ian goes, you're both named Jacob. Well, that's easy to remember. Normally, he literally goes.
I can't believe you said that because now it's pissed me off again.
But it's honestly,
I know you're going.
We always look at it as something stupid, but honestly, I think we could use it to our advantage.
Yes,
because Ian literally goes, "Oh, that's weird." Because normally I usually have to say people's names multiple times in the conversation to remember it. You guys have the same name, like that's easy to remember.
Yep.
So anytime from here on out that we meet them, hey, remember us? We're the Jacobs. When we met Evan Elder, who's fighting in the UFC now,
Stud.
He goes, hey, I want a picture with the Jacobs. So give something, anything that immediately makes it known that you're not just another person that wants to meet him, but makes it known that you want a connection with them. When I met Tony La Russa at that winter meetings, I told him I was from St. Louis.
Who's that?
Told him I was out there. When I met Ryan Howard, for those of you that maybe don't know who Ryan Howard is, he was
Stud.
a big-time slugger for the Phillies for a long time, and he went to Lafayette High School. That's our arch rival. So when I met him, I said, hey, I went to Eureka. We're actually rivals. He slaps me on the chest, gives me a big laugh, and says, get out of here. So immediately, I give them a reason to remember me.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make here. Give them a reason to remember you. So the reason you feel shy is because you don't do that. You don't just go up to people and just stick your hand out, shake their hand, tell them your name, and then start a conversation. That's what you have to do.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That was perfect, dude.
That's what I got.
Yeah, that's what I got after that. 100%. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That was heat.
That was a great way to lead us off into Mr. Q&A.
Yeah. So guys, at the end of all of our episodes, Money Mitch here, our wonderful producer, will ask us a Q&A question. Hey man,
I love that stuck. I love that.
I love hyping you up. Oh, the Money Mitch, yeah, that's all Will. That's all Mr. Will Bates.
I'll call you Money Mitch. The deepest voice
You could
ever.
put a voice changer on it and still won't be comparable to him.
No,
Like it's
No,
nuts.
Will is just a beast.
He's also just an amazing human being.
He's also
Yeah,
just a stud.
But anyway, Mitch will ask us a Q&A question that is submitted by you guys, the listeners or the viewers. What up, YouTube? You guys can submit those to us. Instagram would definitely be the best way. Either DM them to us on Instagram or click the email button on our profile, and then you can email us the questions, or you can leave them on the YouTube comments.
I was gonna say,
Yep.
YouTube comments as well as an option.
Yep. Go ahead.
What are ways to commit to each other? So that kind of stems from the loneliness conversation. So how can we support those who support you? What are ways that we can commit to supporting each other?
That's a good question, actually.
Yeah.
I'll go real quick here, just because there's two that immediately come to my mind. First, if it's someone that sells products, if it's something that you can use and you will use and you'll be happy to use, like buy their products.
Yep.
A good example for me, like I mentioned earlier, we went to Omen for the first time. I'm not a massive coffee drinker. However, I think Mark is an awesome dude, and I think what he is building is awesome. I love their podcast, him and Jeff's podcast. So I'll support them by promoting all of that. I'll go to Omen. I'll just hang out there. We're going to go back, and I can't wait to just bring our computers and just sit down and get work done and hang out there,
Yeah.
It's a good place. Even if I don't necessarily buy anything, and I know he would agree with me, he just wants people in there because he knows I'll put it on my story. He knows I'll talk about it to people. He knows I'll talk about it on our own podcast,
Yep.
So it's promotion, talking to people, buying their products if it's something you're going to use, buying apparel if it's high quality and it looks good, just like the Untapped apparel that's coming out June 9th. June 9th. What up? What up?
Man,
Announcement.
what up? Ever heard of Untapped? No big deal.
Exactly. So it's promotion and it's spending money on it if it's something that you're going to use and something you'd be proud to show off.
Physically supporting the person.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Through material stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
I really like that. My first thought that came to mind was that friendship is conditional. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that it is a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
That both of you have to be putting work into the friendship, even in a dating relationship or a marriage. You have to put work in, both of you. It cannot just be that one person's putting in 85%, the other person's putting in 15.
Definitely.
Or 90-10 or whatever percentage you want to pick. It cannot be that way. So a good example of that is Wurtz and I's friendship. And, it's an easy example for us.
Mm-hmm.
But like I mentioned, his social skills are very strong, extremely strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I can benefit off of that. Now, how can I help benefit him as well?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when we reconnected, right away, we started working out together.
Immediately.
I then passed on that knowledge to him right away.
Mm-hmm.
That fitness knowledge, and gave him all that.
Yeah.
Without even asking a question at all.
Right.
Because I saw the value he brought to the friendship as well. Mm. Not to mention, we also just giggle our ass off the entire time we're together. That helps as well.
Literally, though.
Yeah. So we're both funny. So that's also a two-way street.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Objectively, guys.
It's
been measured.
We will be filming another gym vlog here very, very soon.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Those are so fun, dude.
Cannot wait.
Those are awesome. Oh my gosh. That was great. I can't believe you asked me where I got my trend from, by the way. For those who haven't watched the video yet, Wurtz asked me where I got my damn trend from. So he exposed me for steroid use, which I'm not natty. Man, I kind of wish, but sometimes here and there. But guys, that's kind of where I wanted to go with
Just
this.
To clarify, he is natty.
I am. Yeah, I would hope I'm natty with the way I look.
Exactly.
In my opinion, I do not look like I'm on steroids. But
yeah, I'd be roasting you if you were.
No, as you should. Again,
right.
Honest friendship.
Yeah,
like we talked
100%.
about, goes right along with the stuff. Honest friendship. If I look like shit on steroids, you would tell me. What's it called, guys? So friendship is a conditional relationship, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. That is, love can be conditional. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that, but it can be, and it can still be a very good thing.
Yeah.
Whether, again, dating relationship, you guys both provide something. You can't just sit on the couch and expect somebody to love you and date you because of that reason.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
And there's obviously parameters to saying that, especially within a romantic relationship, because it can be like, hey, I brought home the groceries, so you have to do the laundry.
Yeah, it should be
that's not what he's
should
saying.
be transactional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, transactional.
Should not be transactional.
That's a really,
Absolutely
really
not.
good point.
Yeah.
And I think that actually goes into kind of what we talked about at the beginning of this episode is if you're starting to realize that your friendships are not conditional and they're not, those other people aren't bringing you value like you want them to, either one of two things is happening or needs to happen. One, you need to look in the mirror and be like, okay, well, am I bringing them value? Or two, if they're not bringing you value, it's time to say goodbye to them.
Yep.
Again, sometimes very, very hard to do.
On point, though.
Easier said than done, but the point remains.
Very much so.
Mitch, I'm curious, do you have anything to add to that?
In terms of how we can support each other?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Besides sharing the Untapped podcast to your
well, of
Instagram
course.
stories.
That would be awesome. That'd be
Yes.
phenomenal, guys.
Exactly.
Because we'll bring you guys value the opposite
Yeah,
way. 'Cause it's a
exactly.
two-way street.
Right.
And
right.
buying the merchandise coming out on June 9th, 2023.
Bingo.
Wow. I can't believe we dropped the date.
Bingo.
That's
I
crazy.
dropped the date, man.
That's crazy,
Dropped the
dude.
date, man. Hey, at this point, by the time
That's
this
true. It'll
episode's
release
released,
Monday. Yeah, that's a good point.
We'll have our first initial announcement.
You make a good point.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you.
You know,
Yeah.
I'd
sometimes-
say building community. So
This is gonna be good.
finding ways that you can not just, a very narrow relationship, you guys do one thing together.
Mhm.
It is an all-encompassing relationship, meaning you support them 360 degrees, right? You support them in their fitness journey. You support them in their religious journey. You support them in their financial journey. It's not just a very narrow path.
Mhm.
And I struggled with that. Like I had a lot of only school friends, right?
Mm.
And there's nothing outside of school. You don't interact out of school.
Right.
I'd say that's probably the best way is you can support each other. It's not only your gym friend, it is your friend.
Yeah.
And you support them outside of the gym in whatever endeavors they're engaging in.
So you're saying get to know people more than just
100%.
where you've met them.
Correct.
Is basically what you're saying there.
Yeah. 360 all the way around.
I think that's great. I think that's a really, really good point. Because you never know what people might be up to outside of the gym or outside of school or outside of work, you know? And if you have that good of a relationship with them at work, in the gym, at school, who knows what it could turn
You're limiting
into.
yourself in
Exactly.
that friendship. Yep.
Exactly. That's exactly right there.
What's been going on today, bro, is like a good question. Like,
Yeah.
you know, what's been going on lately?
Yeah. What you doing
You
after the gym?
Yeah.
You know? Whatever.
It's so simple. Yeah.
It is. It really is simple.
'Cause-
It's not gay or it's not fruity to ask that. Like it's not. Well, I think that's what stops a lot of people from asking those questions.
Right. Especially dudes.
You want to go get food? Like, that's not a weird thing to ask.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I really don't. Yeah.
And again, not every you won't have 25 in-depth, super close friends or something like that.
No. And you don't need to either.
Right.
Because that just dilutes it all.
You'll likely have 3 to 5 a lot of times, like super close friends, but then you'll also have friends that you know what's going on in their life, and you're still good friends with them.
Absolutely.
It's just that you're not like that close with them, but that's not a bad thing. Doesn't mean you can't support those friends as well and be good to those people.
That's exactly right.
I mean, if we use that same logic, that means we can't support the guys at men's night because there's too many of them.
You're right.
Or unless you're an asshole, you shouldn't think that way.
Exactly.
Like real talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, 100%. Guys, we brought a lot of good value to you in this episode. This was a really, really good one. This is also a really important one because we got to start getting people just back in person, get people becoming more real again. And again, none of this was a knock on social media either, because when used correctly, social media can be potentially the best tool we've ever had because it can present potentially the most opportunities to you than anything else in today's world, in today's society.
Give you access to 10,000 people at the touch of a button.
Unlimited amounts of people.
Yep.
Yeah. So when used correctly, like, it can be a massive, massive, massive tool. So use it correctly. Figure out what that means for you. Whatever your niche is, use it for that. You know. So, but anyway, we got to get people just being a little bit more real, using tools correctly for the right things, and connecting with more and more people that align with your values, your morals. You know. And supporting people and companies that also align with your morals,
absolutely,
and your values. You know, that's what's really important, and that's how we fix all the stuff that's going on in the world too. But guys, please do us a favor and share this to your Instagram stories. Share this with other people, your friends and your family. Text them the link. Put it up on your stories. Tell people we're on YouTube. Screenshot the YouTube just like our buddy Sam did. Do all these things because it helps us grow. It helps us get our messages out more and more, and it just helps get more eyes and ears on us. And we're really trying to do something special here, and we can't do that without your guys' support. So there we go. That's how you can support us right there.
And like we said, guys, it's if you guys got value out of this, unless if you're just sitting there kind of like loosely listening, then what's the point anyways?
Yeah.
You should. We want you guys engaged. If you guys are engaged with these episodes, share them.
And if you need to, split it up, because I know we're pushing an hour now. So like, if you need to, split it up.
Yeah,
then, so you can be a little bit more engaged.
I'll listen to 15 minutes in the car, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. It's a simple way to do it.
Yeah. There's no doubt. So guys, please help us out and do those things for us. Until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, guys.